Hey guys, welcome to the Retro Army Podcast. We got a very special guest from South Korea right now. This is Evan Garcia. He's been a diehard game fan. He was also one of the guys I really started hanging out with because his game collection is just massive. But he's not even in the States now. He's in South Korea. So we're going to jump into a few things. We're going to talk about the gaming scene in South Korea, as well as talk about basically the Neo Geo that he's been playing religiously. So stay tuned, stick around, and we'll be right back. This is the Retro Army Podcast. Skype is awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the Retro Army Podcast. I'm going to throw this stool out of the way. And you've been having a lot of fun in South Korea, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of cool stuff out here. The gaming scene is very unique, though.
Mm-hmm. Why is that? What differs the South Korean gaming scene from the U.S. gaming scene?
Well, the thing is, I've been to Japan 4 times, so I can actually contrast Korea, Japan, and the U.S. The big difference is that both Korea and Japan have a huge arcade scene. They still have game centers. They still have, the old school style joystick and finger buttons. They also have all the rhythm games. The big difference between Japan and Korea has to be the song room. They have karaoke in Korea, and so they have little karaoke rooms you just put a coin in. But other than that, they're pretty similar.
Really? They have karaoke machines you just put a coin in?
Yeah, it's this tiny little room that fits usually 1 or 2 people, and most people actually go in there alone, and they put in like 50 cents, and they sing the song. And you can hear them on top of like Tekken or anything else you're playing.
That is
hear,
crazy.
That kind of stuff.
Now, what's like the big arcade games over there?
Yeah.
Like arcade-wise, what is everybody playing in the arcades? Because I know arcades are very relevant there, while here in the States, we don't really have them too much.
Well, there's a few places in the States that have them. They're usually the big cities like LA and New York, but other than that, I mean, you don't have a huge arcade scene. I remember people were going crazy over the Street Fighter 4 arcades that were shipped from Japan like 2 weeks before it was released in the States.
Yeah.
I remember some of those things, but you're absolutely right. We don't have the arcade scene anymore. In Korea, the biggest game is StarCraft and some of the PC games, but for arcades, it's easily this one right here. It's Tekken 7.
Is that like a Tekken 7 card?
Yeah, this is my card. Whenever I go to the game, it's mind-blowing how they mixed old technology with the new, or at least old-style technology. So they have the Tekken 7 arcade, and it has a big, 1080p screen, and you have your control stick and your 4 buttons. And you put in your money, and it has this little Bana passport thing, which I've never used before in my life until I played Tekken 7. I paid like $5 to get the card. You scan it in, it goes online, it brings up your profile, and then you play online.
That is
it's
crazy.
To play an arcade game online. At least for me, because I remember going to the arcade and you have to stand in line and just sit there and wait for everyone to kind of cycle through before you get your turn. But with this, you can actually sit in the arcades that I have. They will have like 6 to 10 Tekken 7 machines just sitting there, and they're always full. They usually have 2 people or 3 people waiting on them. But you go in, you put your quarter in, you sign in, and there you go. I currently have 200 wins online, but my ratio is probably not that high. When I first started playing, Koreans are very difficult. They play so differently than the Japanese. They play so differently than Americans.
Now, what city are you in South Korea?
Well, I lived in Daegu for 1 year, and now I'm in Gyeongju. So the culture in both places is a little different. Gyeongju didn't have a Tekken 7 machine until about 2 months ago. So I was finally able to start picking Tekken 7 back up. But when I lived in Daegu, I was there like in the first week that this came out and bought a card and just played there constantly. And I lost probably my first 100 matches because they were golly, They're crazy.
I could honestly just see it now. Like you go in there and you know some of the language now, right?
Yeah.
So you would go, but before would you just go in there and people would just be like cussing at you in Korean and you're like, Dad, whatever.
Well, they don't cuss at me. They just ignore me because they wonder what the heck I'm doing there.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same in Japan. You know, their number one players are all Japanese. The number one players are all Korean. Mm-hmm. They talk about the Korean circuit or the Japanese circuit. They're largely unaware of the Western audience until they become like number 1 or 2 or 3. And then it's kind of seen as an anomaly. They're kind of ignorant to the whole gaming scene in the States especially. A lot of that's changing though. Mm-hmm. But the number 1 Tekken player is a Korean named Nee, as in me.
Me.
And he's insane. He always puts up like 3 or 4 hour videos of him just cranking out online matches left and right, and he talks about the game mechanics and the strategy and all, and it's all in Korean, so that's why the Koreans have such an advantage, because they have so much material to learn from. With me, you know, my Korean is not well enough to where I can watch those and obtain something substantive.
Yeah.
But you know, it's still a lot of fun. I play mostly Hwarang and I forget her name. The new Brazilian girl. But I haven't played her in a few months. I usually stick with Hwarang.
Mm-hmm. Now, are the arcades over there? Because it's, you know, the arcade scene is pretty big over there. Are they like dark like they were here in the States, or are they like brightly lit up? What's the scene like in there? Just the atmosphere.
Well, it looks very run down. A lot of things in Korea. It looks like old communist Russia. The buildings don't have a huge. They don't look pretty. Like nothing in Korea on the outside looks pretty. It all looks like just a big gray block they put there, and they put some numbers on it to say this is the number apartment, and that's it. So a lot of the buildings that you go in have that kind of aesthetic, just kind of put up as quick as possible, pure functionality. We have no reason to make it look pretty. But when you get inside, a lot of these game centers, a lot of these game systems have been there for, 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
They still have old Neo Geo systems. I was telling you earlier, like even at bus stations, you can sit and play like an old school shooter, like 1945.
Yeah.
Or you can play Pulse Bobble, so they have an MVS board. But they do everything through their own style of candy cab. I think they're old Japanese candy cabs that have been
imported across over.
Reappropriated. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of Frankenstein machines here. I played King of Fighters 11 on like a pseudo candy cab, and half the buttons didn't work. There's a lot of old school style arcade stuff here. Whereas in Japan, everything's brand new and pretty and beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you ever remember playing in an arcade where you had like soda stains on the thing, and you had like knife wounds all across the thing, I mean that's Korea.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. All right, well, thanks for enlightening us to the arcade scene over there. That's informative. Honestly, I didn't know nothing about the arcade scene, so I really wanted to hear that. But we're going to take a break, and you touched on the Neo Geo some, so when we get back, we'll be talking about the Neo Geo. And somebody's fortunate enough to have a Neo Geo now. Not naming any names. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back, guys. Yep, I jumped from over there to over here. We're going to talk about something that's pretty relevant in the retro gaming scene. And Evan here has come across one of the best deals I've ever heard of. But of course we're here in the States, so everything costs like stupid amounts of money. But you got a Neo Geo AES, right?
Yeah.
And it's awesome, right?
Well, the thing is I love it to death. I played it mostly in the arcade as a kid, of course. I don't know anybody that had a Neo Geo as a kid.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. It's great.
Now, what are like some of the games? Because I know you said when we were talking earlier, you play that now more than the Wii U.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the big thing is let me just take you down the history of how I got the Neo Geo.
Okay.
I went to Tokyo for vacation, and I went to the electric town called Akihabara.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the big geek town. They have all the nerdy stuff, like the dolls and the games and the card games and the pretty pillows and all that crazy fun stuff. So I went to, it was the day before I left Japan. I figured, might as well go down there and see what I can find. I had been eyeballing a Neo Geo and a PC Engine Turbo Duo, or whatever the heck it's called.
The Turbo Duo,
it has the CD, it has the CD and the U card all in one. But I went to another store and they had a Neo Geo there for like $200. And I got super excited, so I grabbed the system and held it close to my chest. And then I said, where are the games for this thing? And they said, they're right there. And I got something like 70 games.
We can't even find a game in the wild.
To spend way too much money on way too many games. So I decided to do the responsible thing, and I bought the system, and I got 2 games. I got King of Fighters 94, which has been excellent. Super difficult, but still super awesome. This was like $15. And then I got Samurai Showdown 2.
Which is an awesome game.
This is supposed to be one of the best games on the system.
Yeah.
It's $15.
Yeah, that one's better than Samurai Showdown 1. Like, hands down.
Yeah. So anyway, I got the games. They're huge, man. You need to show them your MVS board. But these games are freaking huge. Even the home cards are about the same size as the arcade board. I mean, it's bigger than my hand.
Yeah, because I actually have some right here.
It's about the size of your eye socket. I mean, these are huge pieces of hardware.
Yeah.
And they're sturdy. I mean, they stand up.
Yeah.
People talk about the Super Nintendo. You just can't kill the thing. The games last forever, and so does the system. And fortunately, the Neo Geo is exactly the same way. I don't know about the arcade board because the arcades get a lot more work than the home system, obviously. But the home system, I mean, I never have to blow in them or clean them or do anything. I just put them in and it turns on. There's no problem.
Yeah, see, with the arcade boards, it's kind of the same way, too. But the arcade boards are huge. I don't see how they cram. And this is basically the board without anything in it. If we were lining the arrows up. Well, I'm not able to really... There we go. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty big there. And, of course, without the... Everybody's like, you got a lot of Neo Geo, too. Without the wonderful, solid metal surface there.
The big difference is that these are a little prettier to look at. They come with an instruction book. Like this is a Fatal Fury Special. It comes with like a big, thick instruction book. It has like, I think this one has a comic strip in it. Yeah. So it has like the artwork of the character and then all the moves and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, the cartridge is about the same size, but it has a pretty sticker.
Yeah.
Instead of just a name.
Instead of just let's see if I can.
New Roman font or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the thing is, the reason that I think that the Neo Geo is one of the best systems you can play today. Forget all the nostalgia and everything else, but the reason I think they're the best today is, one, the price is the big issue with most people. You're paying about $100 or $150 a game for most of the games. There's some of them that are, $200, $500, $1,000. I'm not talking about those.
Well, yeah, like the AES games.
Like this, like King of Fighters 98 is one of the best games you can play on the system. This game cost me about $1.40. Now, I remember I bought the Uncharted 3 limited edition for $100.
Yeah.
I remember when they sold Gears of War 3 limited edition for like 150. I remember a bunch of these new limited edition games that, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, are not going to pull the worth that you need out of them. I mean, you enjoy them, you got the cool helmet and the, sexy watch, all the fun stuff, but, I mean, the resale value on it just will not hold. The big thing with these is you're going to have some of the best games you could ever play.
It has that beautiful clamshell.
And if you get rid of it, it will resell about the same value that you picked it up for.
Yeah.
Well, as far as a financial issue, that's huge for me. The second issue is these games don't have any loading times because they're cartridges.
Well, yeah, of course.
Basically big arcade boards. That's all they are.
Yeah, they're the same.
You put it in, you turn it on, and within like 2 seconds, like 3 seconds, you play it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because, I mean, they have the same...
It sings the song to you, and then there you go.
Yeah, they have the same two board in them, too, right?
Yeah, they have 2 PCV boards, yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally the arcade hardware in a prettier casing than this mess of stuff. It's pretty much it.
But if you think about it, I have a Wii U, and if I turn it on, it says, you want to go to the quick start menu. I go to the quick start menu, I hit the button, then it loads the other thing, and then it loads the game. And then I click the game to start, and then it loads the opening screen. Then I click load my data, then it loads my data. And then, like 2 minutes into it, I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
Now, it's a small thing to gripe about to a lot of people. They want to have the better graphics and all that kind of stuff, but the big thing for me is just I want to be able to come home, throw it in, play, and that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of these, they have story if you want to get into them, but most of them, you just turn on and start kicking ass. I mean, that's really all it is. Like the Sing 1 Showdown, you just turn it on and you start cutting people to bits.
And you're having a blast doing it.
Well, the cool thing is, most of these are fighting games, so you can slowly learn how to get better. All of these games are 2-player, so if you have a friend over, you can always play it with them. So you can play it by yourself, you can play it with a friend. I'll have people over and we'll play King of Fighters 98 tournaments. That's the other thing, even in arcades, in Korea and in Japan, this game is still super relevant. People will sit there and play it and play it and play it and play it. And people have lines lined up to play the game because people are still learning the game. They're still learning how to, get better at it.
Yeah.
Now, there's usually about 6 or 7 characters that people play, but that's true for almost any fighting game. But, I mean, the thing is, SNK really did us all a favor by making these top-notch games and giving us, a way to play it at home. Yeah. Now, there's also the consoleized NVS that you can get, but those are a little pricey, or you have to figure out how to wire it yourself. I'm not tech savvy, so I just wanted to play some Neo Geo games, so the AES was the best option for me. The other game that I got was, it's called 3 Count Out in America, but in Japan it's called Fire Suplex. And I got this one pretty cheap. It was about $40-50.
That's a great game.
Immaculate condition. The Japanese absolutely take care of their stuff. It's another reason I like buying stuff out of Japan. Because that game, it smells brand new, it plays brand new. I mean, none of these games have any problems, and I bought them all out of Japan.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a long-winded way to say that the Neo Geo is reliable. The games are all good, with the exception of, I think, 3. In the library of games, all of them are excellent.
Yeah.
You can play them with friends, you can play them by yourself. There's not really any save feature. They have a memory card where you can save like which round you're at.
Yeah.
But other than that, all the other problems you normally do, you just turn it on and start hitting away. The other thing is, it's a small thing, but I like playing with this. I like playing with an arcade stick and big, thick, juicy buttons.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't?
I feel like I have more control. I feel like I can put in the commands better. I don't know. Just everything about it has been a pure joy to play this system. So,
Well, that is freaking awesome, and I want a Neo Geo now, so thank you. Like an actual home system.
I remember playing the MVS at your store.
Yeah.
And we played, Turf Masters, we played King of Fighters 94, we played Metal Slug. I mean, these are all the greatest games you can play on the system, and we were just having a great old time, pumping in quarters left and right.
And that was the difference. It was fun to play those games. It wasn't like, they're fun. They're fun games. That's all it comes down to. It wasn't about graphics. It was about gameplay and fun.
Well, the way I look at it is old school games are like acoustic instruments. Yes, we have electric guitars and we have electric pianos, but people still want to hear acoustic music. They still want to hear violins. They still want to hear all the great classics. Plus, they want to hear new music on the old instruments. There's no reason not to. So it's the same issue here. You know better than anyone, but there's all this underground scene that happens on the Dreamcast and on the Neo Geo. There's a Neo Dev team that they made something like 5 or 6 games for the Neo Geo.
Oh yeah.
And they repressed some recently. They're called NG Dev Team, and they have
Gunlord.
3 of their games on Dreamcast recently.
Yeah, Gunlord was one of them. You had Last Hope. There's a few others.
Yeah.
Like Neo XYZ.
They're going to reprint. They're also talking about re-releasing them on the AES, which I will buy one. Probably Gunlord, if any of them.
Yeah, Gunlord's phenomenal.
But I mean, that's the thing is, even though it's an older system, there's still support for it. There's still people that want to play it. But there's just something about it that makes it completely different than anything you can play today.
Yeah. Okay, well guys, we're going to have to get out of here in a minute. That's about all the time we have, but we thank you for watching the Retro Army Podcast. Can you say the Retro Army Podcast in Korean?
Retro Army Podcast.
So thanks for watching, guys. We're going to get out of here, have a little more fun.